confident woman of color steps into a luxurious first-class cabin. As she settles into her seat, she begins to feel the uncomfortable weight of whispers and harsh glares from the flight attendants. Her presence seems to disrupt the atmosphere of the cabin, as though she doesn't belong. But little do they know, she's not just any traveler. Her name is Monica Carter, a highly regarded attorney who works with some of the most influential legal minds in the country. What begins as an uneasy flight soon escalates into an unexpected confrontation, forcing Monica to confront the deep-seated biases held by the airline staff in this gripping real-life story. Monica never expected her routine flight to become a battleground for dignity and respect. The mistreatment from the crew intensifies as they deny her basic services, which are granted to the other first-class passengers, while questioning her right to be seated in this section. Instead of shrinking back, Monica remains poised and prepares to respond, not with rage, but with undeniable truth that would leave the flight attendants speechless. What happens when a simple flight becomes a true test of strength, endurance, and fairness? Watch as Monica reveals who she really is and exposes the hidden biases that often lurk in places we least expect. This isn't just about a flight. It's about standing tall when the world tries to convince you that you don't belong. Monica Carter settled into the plush leather seat, enjoying the calm hum of the airplane as she prepared for a few hours of peace. As a successful lawyer, her career was demanding, and moments like these were few and far between. This flight, a small break in her hectic schedule, offered her a chance to catch her breath. Her seat in first class was the perfect escape, a little reward for all the hours spent in courtrooms and law offices. But as she relaxed into the chair, she couldn't help but sense an underlying tension. She had chosen Skyway Airlines for its reputation of inclusivity and its convenient direct flight to her destination. With the loyalty points she'd earned over the years, upgrading to first class felt like a well-earned luxury. However, as she settled in, she noticed something strange. The flight attendants who greeted each other passenger with warmth and politeness barely acknowledged her presence. One of them, a woman named Karen, gave her a quick, almost dismissive glance. It felt intentional, and for a moment, Monica wondered if she was overthinking it. She tried to shake off the nagging feeling, focusing instead on preparing for takeoff. She stowed her bag and powered off her phone, but the discomfort only grew as time passed. The murmured voices and the sideways glances became impossible to ignore. She couldn't make out everything being said, but the laughter that echoed from the galley felt cruel, like it was aimed directly at her. It was clear she was being judged. Despite her frustration, Monica kept her composure. Throughout her career, she'd learned to keep a calm exterior, even in the face of adversity. But today was different. The whispers, the subtle avoidance, the way the flight attendants served everyone else while ignoring her. It was all too deliberate to be coincidence. She could feel the disrespect building, a quiet storm simmering just beneath the surface. As the crew came around with snacks, Monica was handed a small pack of crackers and hummus, while everyone else received cheese plates and fruit bowls. She knew this wasn't an accident. This was personal. The flight attendants had made it clear they didn't think she belonged. When Karen approached her to ask if everything was fine with the snack, Monica could hear the thinly veiled condescension in her voice. "It's fine," Monica replied, keeping her tone steady, though inside, the frustration was starting to boil over. She wasn't about to let them see her anger, but it was becoming harder to ignore the growing unease. Then came the moment that confirmed her suspicions. As the plane leveled off and the meal service began, once again, Monica was overlooked. Karen walked right past her, offering food to everyone around her, but ignoring her entirely. This was no accident. It was intentional. Monica pressed the call button, and when Karen arrived, her demeanor was cold, bordering on irritated. "What can I do for you?" Karen asked, as if Monica was the one causing trouble. "I haven't received a menu," Monica replied, her voice even. "Could I get one?" Karen hesitated before reluctantly bringing over a worn, old menu. Monica scanned it quickly and made her selection. "I'll have the chicken marala," she said calmly. But as Karen left, The hurt was undeniable. Why was she being treated this way? Was it because of her race? The thought stung, but she forced herself to remain composed. She couldn't let them win. The mistreatment didn't stop there. Later, when the dessert cart came around, every passenger was offered a slice of rich chocolate cake, except for Monica. Instead, she was handed a small fruit cup. "Is this all you have?" Monica asked, struggling to keep the frustration from her voice. "We're running low," Karen replied dismissively, never meeting Monica's eyes. Monica's patience was wearing thin. She didn't want to escalate the situation, but the blatant disrespect was too much. She pressed the call button once more, and when Bryce arrived, she politely requested the chocolate cake. "I'll get that for you," he said, his annoyance evident. He returned shortly with the cake, but the moment felt hollow. Monica didn't want their pity. She didn't want anything from them. Then, just when it seemed like the tension couldn't get any worse, came the final insult. An announcement over the intercom instructed passengers to fasten their seatbelts due to expected turbulence. Suddenly, flight attendants appeared at Monica's seat, asking to see her identification. This was unusual, to say the least. In all her years of flying, she had never been asked for ID mid-flight, especially in first class. "Is there a reason you need to see my ID?" Monica asked, incredulous. "It's a new policy," Bryce explained, his eyes darting nervously around the cabin. "Random checks." Monica didn't believe him. She could see the other passengers watching, their confusion mirrored in her own. "I've traveled extensively," she said firmly. "I've never heard of such a policy." Naomi, who had been avoiding Monica's gaze, finally seemed to understand the mistake they'd made. It was clear they hadn't asked anyone else for ID. It was only her. This was their way of targeting her. Monica's heart raced, but she remained calm. "I'll show you my boarding pass again," she said, pulling it from her bag. "But if this is your new policy, why haven't any of the other passengers been asked for it?" Naomi fumbled for a response, but there was none. The truth was out, and the crew knew they'd been caught. Monica could feel the shift in the air, tension turning to guilt, but she wasn't done yet. With a final, deliberate movement, Monica reached in her bag and pulled out her ID badge from the law firm she worked for, the gold lettering catching the light. "I work for a prestigious law firm," she said confidently. "I belong here, just like everyone else." The flight attendants were speechless, their arrogance deflated in an instant. But Monica wasn't finished. "You may have thought you could treat me this way because of what I look like," she continued, her voice unwavering. "But I'm not going to let it slide. I'll be filing a formal complaint, and I won't stop until this is addressed." With one last look, the crew retreated, their discomfort palpable. Monica could feel the shift in the room. She wasn't just another passenger anymore. She was someone to be reckoned with. As the plane made its descent, Monica reflected on what had just happened. The anger had subsided, replaced by a calm sense of resolution. She had confronted the prejudice head-on and stood her ground. It wasn't just a victory for her. It was a reminder that no one should be made to feel less than simply because of their appearance. The crew had learned the hard way that respect must be earned, not assumed based on someone's looks or background. Monica's experience wasn't just about confronting ignorance. It was a wake-up call about resilience and the importance of challenging biases wherever they appear. As the plane touched down, Monica allowed herself a small smile. She had spoken up, and in doing so, she had made a difference. The fight wasn't over, but this moment was hers. Monica's quiet strength turned an uncomfortable flight into a powerful statement against prejudice. Her unwavering dignity, even in the face of blatant disrespect, exposed the crew's biases and forced them to confront their actions. This wasn't just about standing up for herself. It was a stand for anyone who has ever been marginalized or made to feel less than. As the plane landed, Monica knew her fight wasn't over, but this moment was a victory. It was a reminder to all that respect must be earned, and dignity can never be stripped away, no matter where we are or who we are.